Hi, Deconverted Man here. Let me take off my headphones so I can hear myself as I mess up my hair. CapriciousBlackBox, thanks for responding to me and also to Slick, because I have not done enough about Slick yet. That was sarcastic. I've done far too much on Slick. It's spreading. More people are talking about Slick. It's all my fault. Wait, no, it's all Matt Slick's fault. Okay, so he made a lot of great points. I'm happy to be disagreed with because that makes me think about what I said, about how I should have said what I said, and revising what I said. So there's a couple of things here. Utilitarian ethics is my ethical system. It doesn't have to be your ethical system. So I wanted to get that clear, that I wasn't trying to say that utilitarian ethics is the best system. I have no idea what system of ethics is the best, or if that's even something that we would be able to figure out. I don't know. It's just the system I gravitated towards, by and large, because of Kant. Kant. Actually, you're supposed to say it Kant, but K-A-N-T, Kant. Mostly from reading him, I gravitated towards the idea of my duty is to the truth, but I don't take it as far as Kant does. And also, utilitarian ethics seem to be a very logical, pragmatic way of approaching ethics for myself. That's not to say, again, it's not the best system. I don't know if there's a better system. I'm willing to be persuaded out of it into a different ethical system. All I need is a logically coherent argument, and I'll go to that. I'll go with that. As far as morals being subjective or objective, I think it's a combination of both, personally, on a personal level, but I don't know what the fact is on the matter. I actually did used to think what CapriciousBlackBox is saying here when I was a Christian, which again isn't to demean him or anything. You're thinking like a Christian, shame on you. No, you're thinking like I did when I was a Christian, so you're thinking like me, so that's a good thing. Yeah. But I used to think that morality was something we discovered like mathematics, that it was simply a thing that existed in a similar way that mathematics exists. Although I added to that was because God existed, that morality existed and mathematics existed because God existed. Obviously, as a skeptic, I would have to drop the God part. But could morals be something that is akin to mathematics, that we're discovering it rather than inventing it? I don't know. I do not know the answer to that, because unlike mathematics, where you have something to reference, okay? You have one object and then you have two objects. So that's, we started labeling objects with numbers. Maybe there were scratches at first, but then that became more formalized, and then we had names that we gave them: 1, 2, 3, 4, or Ich ni Sancho go, or uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, and that's about it for how I know how to say other numbers and languages. But whatever the name is, the basic idea was the same, that we came up with a way to label reality, and it's quite useful. So morals might be something like that, where action X, we observe that, and our descendants observe the same action, and our descendants observe it, and over time we've recorded this action, and we've recorded what it does, what it doesn't do, etc., and labeled that action as good or bad. In that sense, where did that good and bad come from? Was it always good and bad, as CapriciousBlackBox said? Slavery has always been bad, we just didn't realize it until now. Okay, but how did we arrive at that? Okay, we arrived at it as far as I can tell by observation. We are limiting people's freedom, and that might be good for us, but that's not so good for them. So let's not do that. And what do we mean by good? Well, we mean that if I was in that position, I would not enjoy that. Typically. We might mean something else, but I think that that's the kind of go-to sort of thought process. Kant, again, not to appeal to Kant, but Kant would say that imagine the whole world was doing that thing, and if the world would be awesome doing that, then that's a thing that's good. And so that's, again, where I personally go to utilitarian ethics, and if everybody everywhere all the time told nothing but the truth, no crime would be possible. No wars would be possible, because it'd be like, hey, I want to steal that thing. Well, you're not allowed because you'll go to jail. Oh, right. Good point. I'm not going to steal that. You know, hey, we'd like to go to war with you. Rather you not. Why? Because we've got a whole, that will kill both of us. Why don't we just find out who's right? Well, we think that this land is ours. Well, this land is ours. Oh, you're right. It is yours. You can't lie. So that, there would be, I don't know, maybe we'd figure out a way to do war anyways. I don't know. But would it be a better world? Yeah. Would it be a worse world in some ways? Kind of, I mean, if you've seen the movie The Truth About Lying, you get kind of a glimpse into a world like that. That baby is really ugly, So, well, that's the truth. How do I look in this dress? Disgusting. I hate that dress. I hate you. This relationship isn't going to last. I just want to marry you because of your genes, So, could that world be good? Could it be bad? I don't know. So, I used to think that morality is something we discover, and I like that idea. I still like the idea that maybe that's the case. I don't know that it's the case, and I need some sort of argumentation to get me to think that it is the case. If it is, then there should be some sort of syllogism that we can put to it, or some empirical evidence, some test. I think that we're always going to go back to action X caused Y thing to happen. Y is typically undesirable, therefore action X is bad. And that's essentially what I'm saying, is that through utilitarianism, or perhaps other ethical systems, the best good the most good for the most amount of people, the least harm to the least amount of people. So yes, the whole boat scenario, we throw one guy overboard, we're gonna have enough to eat for everyone. We don't do it, everyone dies. But I took it to the extreme of aliens come, you kill this one person, we'll let everyone live. But we typically don't negotiate with terrorists when they make threats like that. When they hold hostages, say we're going to kill them all unless you do whatever. We'll play around like we're going to do that, but really we're setting up snipers to take them out. So typically we don't respond to threats like that, because responding to a threat by giving into it might mean that you're always going to be giving into those threats. So today it was one death that we required, but tomorrow it's going to be 100, and then the day after that it's going to be 1,000, and then the day after that, whatever. So although at the time it might be like, well, this does the most good for the most people because all I'm doing is killing one person. Well, then the only moral thing to do, if you really thought that was true, is offer yourself as tribute. I'll sacrifice myself to save everyone else. Now I'm dead. I have no idea if that worked, but if I believed hard enough that it would work, then that would be the only moral thing to do. If the aliens were like, no, you have to kill this person, then it's like, no, because we're giving in to that and we don't know where that's going to lead. Of course, I would be like, ask CapriciousBlackBox. I don't want to be responsible. Let him decide. It's not on me anymore. No, but Seriously though, yeah, that's true. That scenario doesn't come up, and hopefully never will come up. But of course, it's a thought experiment. It's meant to make us think about what is the true morality there. If we absolutely knew that one death of that one innocent would save everyone else, then that one guy's or gal's got to die. It still might be wrong, but we're talking about saving everybody. So, yeah, it sucked, but what are you gonna do? Because we only have one existence, we only have one life, we only have one chance. So the continuation of the species, if we knew for sure that was going to guarantee it, is paramount. Now, of course, Slick takes that and says, well, if it was, continuation of the species and the only way to do it was rape, is rape wrong? Yeah, rape's still wrong. I think you could convince the other person to go along with it. I think you could use science to get around the problem if you knew enough about science to do that. If you didn't and you decided to rape that person, you did something wrong to perpetuate the species. Killing that person, still wrong. Raping that person, still wrong. But it has to be done. You don't have a choice in the matter. So in that, I agree with CCB, if he doesn't mind me reducing his name to that. CapriciousBlackBox. I agree with him that if we're going to say this is wrong, then let's just say it's wrong. Is it always wrong, or is it objectively wrong? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know that it's subjective either. I just have said that's my observation based on what I know of history, based on what I know of today. It seems subjective. It might not be, but it seems that way. I again would use the legal system and say that once the law is established, that's your objective value, and the subjectivity comes in the court system. So your ethics are the law, and then your morals are the court system, something like that. The analogy's nowhere near perfect, don't get me wrong. I know that the analogy is not perfect, and like CapriciousBlackBox, I don't have all the answers, or perhaps even any of the answers either. But talking about this is good, whether we agree with each other or not, because it helps us to determine better systems. And of course, the word better might be subjective too. Now, the one point I will take in opposition of Capricious is he says multiple times, I don't understand whatever it is that follows that sentence. That doesn't matter. That's irrelevant, because it's an appeal to personal incredulity. I don't understand it, or I don't get it, or I can't believe it. Well, it might be appeal to ignorance. I don't know, therefore I don't believe it. Doesn't matter if you don't understand it, doesn't matter if you don't know it. Whatever it is that way regardless. So it might be the truth that morality is subjective, and just because you don't get that or you don't understand it doesn't change reality. So it's a logical fallacy. That I would take issue with. Given that he has framed that within a probabilistic format, that is, this is him saying, I think that this is the way things are. I believe, he's making belief statements. So because of that, he doesn't have to have a syllogism. He doesn't have to make a logically coherent argument. I just wanted him to know that that was a logical fallacy that he performed. I think he probably recognizes that now. Looking back, he'll be like, oh, I've done that too, so hey, But it doesn't matter for his points here, because he's not trying to persuade us that this is real. He's just talking about this, and that these are things that he thinks are true. So it's important to recognize that this is an information exchange dialogue, not a persuasionary dialogue. Okay? But there's still logical fallacies, so don't do that. And I just kicked the table with my foot. It didn't hurt, though. So I like the idea, and I hope that it's true that morality is something that we're discovering. But that needs to be demonstrated in some way, shape, or form. And then you need to distinguish the difference between that and what I was saying, which is, if X thing is bad for X individual, then let's avoid that. But if X thing is bad for said individual, yet would benefit everyone else, then are we forced to do it because the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one? We're humans, so sometimes the needs of the one outweigh the needs of the many. You know, it's the old, you know, if you magically found yourself next to Hitler as a baby, would you kill him? Scenario. I'd kill him. No question, no doubt. Now, of course, how you kill him, well, the most humane way possible. I'm not going to pick him up and just whack him against the wall, although that might be fun. No. I'm just going to try to figure out some way to kill him that's not painful or inhumane, but I'm definitely going to kill him. Of course, now I've altered reality, and the altered reality might be worse, but I'm acting on what I know. This guy's going to do bad stuff. He's got to go. Whereas CapriciousSBlackBox might be like, no, he hasn't done those things yet, so I can't kill him until he starts to do something bad. Then I could try to take him out or something. I don't know. But our ethics don't, like I said, our ethics don't have to be utilitarian. I would like to know from CapriciousBlackBox what your ethics are, or if you or do you have a particular set of ethics, or is it some combination of ethics that you draw from? Because there's several different sets of labeled ethics and subsets within, and you might not fit into any one particular category therein, or you might never have thought about it. I didn't think about it for years, and I was like, well, I need to find what my ethics are, and you know, I found utilitarianism. I was like, that's the one for me. And it was an arbitrary choice on my decision, but based upon, you know, what I'd read from Kant, and that it just seemed to kind of flow with my logic stuff. You know, it's like, well, okay, that's going to help everyone. Let's do that. You know, but yeah, it's do the least harm for the least amount of people. That can't be neglected either, because otherwise you would wind up with slaves and stuff like that. And that's not the least harm for the least amount of people. You're still harming people. So you reduce the harm as much as you possibly ever could, which is hopefully down to nothing, hopefully down to zero. You know, right now we have hypodermic needles, which cause a little bit of pain. If we ever invent something that doesn't cause pain, we're morally obliged, I would say, to use that method, even if that method is more expensive. Eventually it would become less expensive, hopefully, but we're obliged to use it because it doesn't cause pain. Anyways, so hopefully that clarified some of the points here. I don't know if I just made more of a mess out of it. So let me try to recap. So I would say utilitarian ethics is my ethical system. It doesn't have to be your ethical system, nor does it have to be society's ethical system. I don't know if morals are subjective or objective or a combination thereof. I like to think that they're a combination. I don't know that that's true. I need an argument one way or the other to really have a solid ground on it, and I have no argument either way. I like your idea that morals are being discovered. I used to believe that myself. I don't anymore, but you could be right. I need some sort of reason to think that you're right. If you can present a syllogism that's logically coherent, I'll analyze it and let you know. You want to PM me that instead of making a video about it, and I'll analyze it and I'll tell you where it went wrong and try to help you improve it, because I'm interested in engaging in logic. Because I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I just want an argument. If you have some evidence that can show a difference between what you've said here, that the consequence of actions make the thing immoral. That we know slavery is wrong. Well, why? Because it causes harm. Okay, but how is that different from the system I've said? And if it turns out to be the case that morality is subjective or objective, whichever way it goes, or a combination thereof, that you and I would both agree to whatever the data says, that even if we don't understand it or we don't like it, we have to go with the data. We have to go with the logically coherent argument. And if we don't have any of those, then yeah, we can just talk about this and go, well, I think it's this, I think it's that, I don't know, we could do that because it's kind of fun to do. I don't want to do it all day, but it is fun to think about these things and talk about these things and try to decide if we can have better systems or what that even means. So there you go. And also tisk on the logical fallacies. Don't do that. So thanks, Capricious Black Box. Finally he mentioned me. I'm like trying to do things with him forever. He won't do things with me. Anyways, I'm fine now. Until next time, until I have Capricious Black Box, I must continue to drink some other thing. What is a Capricious Black Box anyways? Is it like a box that records things as they're capricious and they're crashing into the ground?